Good afternoon. This is Kyle LaRoche, and I'm back with another one of Kyle's Minutes. So today, we're going to be talking about incentives, how companies pay for opinions. In essence, I'm going to explain surveys to you. So I want to start with this question. For those of you at home, why do companies pay for opinions? I'll give you some time to think about that, but I have an answer in the meantime. See, most of us pay attention when there's something in it for them. That's the whole basis of incentive theory. Most people think surveys are scams, and that's fair. I mean, who could blame them? According to national survey data, a majority of adults in the US report receiving scam messages weekly and across multiple channels. So I'm saying phone calls, well over half, emails, over half, text messages, about a half or more, and social media, a third or more depending on the age range. That's scam messages weekly across all of those channels. So I don't blame people. I would have thrown away surveys, focus groups, all this as another scam. You know, that was in fact until I learned what incentives are. So, without further ado, what are incentives? In short, incentives aren't charity, okay? They're not goodwill. They're not free. Here's an important thing to keep in mind. Uh, there's no such thing as free lunch. It costs somebody something. And that brings me to my final point. In short, incentives are business expenses. To explain, companies don't guess anymore, if they ever did. Guessing is expensive. I'll say this, it doesn't cost much to pay attention anyway, right? So, paying attention to users, people like you and me, pans out much more than simply guessing at what our tastes, our preferences are. So, for those of us who caught me last week, I dove into surveys once I learned I didn't need permission. I wasn't waiting on a boss. I didn't need a manager. I didn't require the okay from my mother. I love her though. I stopped waiting. I mean, people are already collecting tons on offers. Just wait until we cover churning. But in the end, I realized I didn't need a boss. I didn't need approval. I just needed to learn how to play the game. And so that's where we're at. There's a hidden economy behind opinions. I thought about this for some time and I'd like to keep it short with opinionomics, right? So think about it this way. Every product you've ever used, every app update, every flavor change, every new feature came from feedback. So this is for a few people who know, and maybe you're not familiar. That's alright. Ever notice how on the back of Burger King receipts you can complete a survey for a sandwich? You can sub Burger King for Wendy's, McDonald's, you name it. You ever visit a restaurant and leave a Yelp review? My friend Andrew told me this story once about Coke. Get this. So, a while back, Coke announced that they were going to change their recipe. The goal was only to make it less sugar, better for you, if you could do that with soda. Now, you won't believe what happened. The announcement itself sent everybody into a frenzy. I mean, people were buying Coke by the boatload in order to keep the original formula. People were writing letters, they were sending mail. They did not like the sound of a new Coke recipe. So, I know you know where this is going. There was such a backlash. Coca-Cola, the company, had to go back on their announcement. They said, "Oh, thanks to everyone's feedback, we won't change the recipe. We hear you loud and clear." But why do I bring that story up? Well, it's clear to me they didn't get user opinions. And that's really the nature behind that practice. So how do companies get user opinions? Well, you're looking at my wallboard here, but I've got a short list for you. There are focus groups. There are one-on-one interviews, product testing questionnaires, concept testing questionnaires. And as you can see, people do surveys at scale. So it's important we remember this. Your opinion isn't valuable because it's right or wrong. It's valuable because it represents. Okay? I'm going to say that again, just for emphasis. Your opinion isn't valuable because it's right or wrong. It's valuable because it represents. See, they don't need Michael Jordan's opinion on basketball shoes or shorts and other gear. He's just one guy. And what's more, he's a professional. They need the thoughts of normal, everyday people. He doesn't represent all of America. So the business goes out of their way to get a large sample that covers a lot of different folks. It's just that. I mean, you could go to Gordon Ramsay for opinions on chef knives, cooking stations, the works, but he's at a level where it's hard to replicate. People may not need that type of investment. It's just not the same for everyone. And so, companies aren't exactly looking for experts, people top of their field. Maybe they use them to advertise, but in reality, to even get there to a product or a service people will use, they want folks like you and me. They want, let's see, they want opinions from Michelle, for example. They want to hear what Dolores, Peter, and Dennis have to say. You know, since being a part of this game and learning these tricks, I've realized that your opinion is the raw gem that companies spend millions digging for. It's true. They want your truth. How you vote with your dollar, my econ professor used to say. If you watch Kai Cenat on Twitch, if you follow Mr. Beast or Kylie Jenner on Instagram, maybe you watch Gordon Ramsay's TikToks. You follow people on Snap. All of it. All of it is market data. And businesses need that. That's their whole game. So I bet you're wondering, because we covered the economy behind opinions, we've looked into why would anyone pay for an opinion? It's time for us to talk about how surveys actually work. So, for those unfamiliar, here's the simplest way I can put it. Step 1. Your company, your favorite company, has a decision to make. Burger King is launching a new sandwich. Uh, Lilly, the healthcare company, has a new ad. Let's say Dyson and their vacuums, they want to release a new price. Or your Coke, and maybe you try a new recipe, maybe you try new packaging. But therein lies the problem. Guessing is risky. You know, I said it before, it doesn't cost much to pay attention. The alternative? Simply hazarding guesses at what consumers want. I mean, I can't understate this. Rather, it might. I would put it this way. A bad decision can cost millions. Remember the Coke thing. They did not want to hear from almost all of America when they were going to change the recipe that people weren't interested in it. They loved the original. Change was bad. Staying the same was good. That was not something to guess upon. So, that takes us to step 3, right? Remember, step 1, a company has a decision to make, and step 2, guessing is risky. So, we arrive at step 3, they hire research firms. And this is where folks like focus group, respondent, user interviews, they come in. These firms, they recruit participants and they screen for demographics, right? Age, nationality, place of residence, place of origin, date of birth, all of that good stuff. And then, finally, these research firms, with the budgets that they receive from these companies looking for the opinions, those research firms pay incentives for people's honesty and their time. That's what you're looking at here. You have the length of the interview set up from high to low, low to high, and points from high to low, low to high. So in short, this board, this page has surveys that tell you this survey will take 13 minutes to complete, and for your 13 minutes spent, you'll get 82 points. Here's one that's 5 minutes to complete, and for that you'll get 530 points. So, this is one case, but step 3 brings us to step 4. These research firms invite you. Sometimes you qualify, and sometimes you don't. And I won't glaze past this. Sometimes you qualify, and sometimes you don't. In short, it's important to remember not qualifying is normal, right? And that might surprise you, because I'm sure you're thinking, not qualifying, I'm looking for these surveys. If I don't qualify, it's a fail. I'm here to correct that thinking. It's filtering. Because if we take a step back, remember, these research firms, they're looking for certain demographics, demos for short. Maybe they need guys because they're testing male underwear. Unfortunately, they're not going to need as many women. Okay? Let's say it's an automotive survey. They're going to need car drivers, right? So you're not failing. These surveys are filtering because they're looking for specific people to ask them for their specific opinions on things. So, being disqualified doesn't mean you did something wrong. That's really important to remember. Being disqualified doesn't mean you did something wrong, you answered wrong. It means that they already filled that quota. They found all the guys, they found all the college students, they found all the gamers that they're looking for. So, what's our goal then? Well, I feel your goal should be to keep taking these low risk shots, right? If you play basketball or you're familiar with that sport, you can be Steph Curry and able to shoot from beyond the arc for 3 points. That could be you. But if you're like me, eh, what can I say? I'm like Brian Scalabrine. Great announcer, covers the sports well, and I mean, he's been a part of championship teams. But long story short, I'm more of the guy who takes shots from within the arc for 2 points, but I'm taking them because they're low risk. I can hit these. I spend 5 minutes, I spend 15, I spend 5, I spend 8. There's a likelihood I'll collect on some of these. So remember, the goal should be to keep taking low risk shots, right? You want to get your reps in. And we'll come to this later. So, thinking about everything I've said so far, especially these 4 steps, a company has a decision to make. They don't want to guess, they want to get informed. The second step, so step 3, they hire research firms. Those research firms, they recruit, they screen, and then they reward people for the time they gave, their honesty, and their answers. That brings us to that's step 4. You get invited, where the reality is sometimes you qualify and sometimes you don't. So you should keep reaching out. You should keep making those attempts on these surveys to increase your chances. But again, to arrive at this next point, surveys are for certain people, and surveys are not for others, right? That's a fancy way of saying something I have to say because I have to keep it real. This whole survey thing isn't for everybody. So I bet you're wondering, who is it for? Well, maybe you've caught along so far. This is for people with spare pockets of time, right? If you don't have 13 minutes to spend, I get it. You're busy, you got kids, you got places to be, so on and so forth. It's no problem. But let's say you're in school, excellent. You work a desk job, good on you. This is for people with that extra time to do these surveys, to sign up. This is for people rebuilding financially. Uh, I've done nothing but keep it real, but here's another bite for you. Some hearts do not sing for getting $1 for a few minutes and a few questions. I mean, I'll say it. Mine does. Oh, I'm telling you right now, as soon as I finish up, I'd love to tackle this 5-minute survey for 530 points. That's where I'm at. Surveys are for people who want flexible, permissionless income, right? There's nobody in charge here. There's no one saying, I should take this one, I can't take that one. If you like being told what to do, waiting for directions, it's no problem, but I just would not recommend this. In short, these surveys, this opportunity, it's for self-starters. It's for people who like stacking small wins. Again, you might not sing for getting $1, $5, but for people who like stacking, oh, day in, day out, it's fun to see your record of hits and what you've pulled down so far. So if you like stacking small wins, if consistency is your calling card, this is for you. And I'll throw this in for my gym bros. If you work out, you understand the power of reps, right? This could be for you. And so I've said a lot about who it's for. Let's take a look at who it's not for. Basically, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. I mean, 25 minutes on a survey, 25 minutes on a survey, you will not see bundles overnight. And I have to disclaim this more than once, you will not always qualify. Okay? So it's not for people hoping that this is that. This is some type of overnight magic bean that will grow into a beanstalk. You won't always pull hundreds. You won't even pull tens of dollars. That's important to keep in mind because I'm being real. This is not a full-time income replacement, right? I like suggesting these things where there's an opportunity for you if you participate, but you always run into those folks who think they can take whatever you show them as additional, as extra, and make it their main. I'm sorry, but your side salad isn't a replacement for your full meal. Okay? You get an appetizer, you can eat a couple appetizers, but it doesn't replace an entree. Okay? So you can have a snack, an hors d'oeuvre, but it's not dinner. I would think of it that way. To put it another way, unless you have multiple income streams, you'll want to keep your day job. This won't cover it. This is not for the impatient. That's another thing I have to say. Surveys are not something you rush through, making stuff up. right? We already highlighted that it's about your demographics. So if I'm a 16-year-old male, I will not get very far saying I'm a 24-year-old. It just won't work. They'll need me to show my license. They'll want me to be able to do this and that. And if I'm making things up, I simply won't get far. So, just as a reminder, if you lie, you're going to lose your chance. Most platforms will kick you the moment they catch on. If you rush, I mean, you're going to lose out on your own earnings. You're going to misrespond, mistype. And these surveys, they do incorporate these trick questions that if you're not paying attention, they'll catch you. They'll go as far as saying, people tend not to pay attention to these surveys. To make sure you're paying attention, choose the third answer. And there's no excuse there, my friend. If you choose anything but the answer they select for you, they indicate you should hit, looks like you're not paying attention, and that'll get you DQ'd, disqualified. So, I just want to sum up with something I read once, and it's quite short, but it shares virtue begets reward. So, what does that mean? Patience will pay, greed will not. That's how I want to take a look at it, and I think you'll benefit if you see it that way too. So, I've said a lot. I've covered who this is for, who it isn't. I covered what it is, incentives and surveys. And I told you a little bit about the economy behind it. There's real value. So I'll take the time here to say why I use it, right? I bet you're wondering, Kyle, you sound like you're on top of things. What do you do these surveys for? I'll tell you why I stick to them every day. I mean, in short, I'm one of those folks, I could use the extra cash. I'm building my own projects. With the surveys, I cover small costs. I mean, I pay bills for my tools. Picture Lightroom, Adobe Premiere, CapCut, Spotify, my subscriptions, and my other experiments. In all, I relieve the pressure on my partner. I mean, she's got bills to pay, things to cover. Anything I can take care of with returns from these surveys is worth it. So, this is why I'm here. But I'll put out another word of caution. If you're stressing, if you're trying to land these surveys, take a second. It's the same as many things. A farmer can't rush his crops. The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. A fisherman can't charm his catch. What do? They stay patient. So, what are they staying patient for? What are you staying patient for? I would look at it this way. It's a new headset. It's a new ergonomic mouse. It's a gift for someone special. I'll keep it brief. It's one less thing hitting my credit card. So, I've been doing my best to keep it real, come clean with you all. This isn't a trap. This isn't some elaborate setup. You're looking at it with me. Sometimes, I mean, I dare say, many times, it's small. 100 points is $1, if anyone didn't catch on yet. Sometimes it's nothing. People like to think I never lose, right? They see this in front of you, they see this in front of me, they hear my words, they follow my platforms, they think I never lose. It's always wins. But I'll tell you, it's not it, okay? You only lose when you quit. It's like that guy digging for diamonds. He gives up right before he breaks ground. But you stick with it, and before you know it, these little wins add up. So, I'll open it up. This is what my minute is for, to cover things I'm working on, why I do them, and share information I found valuable with others. If you're interested in why I play a game that I only win sometimes, please understand. Winning isn't everything. It's just the only thing that matters. But keep the following in mind. You cannot win if you do not play. So I just want to set these expectations early. You won't qualify for everything, and you shouldn't rush. Consistency matters. I was saying it before, but think of this like fishing, not farming. Farming implies seeds, seasons, harvests, crops. But in truth, you're on a boat. You cast wide nets. You cast long lines. Some days you catch nothing, and some days you catch dinner. So, as I go on with these segments and share more, I just want to remind you, using my links doesn't cost you anything. It just tells the platform you came through me, and that helps keep me sharing what actually works. So, I do want to assure you, this is what permissionless earning looks like in real life. Not flashy, not fake, but informed. I want to end by saying your opinion already has value. You might as well be the one who benefits from it. But that's been my minute. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next week.